Welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core number 59. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa,
Hello.
how you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's Wednesday, I think. I only know it's Wednesday because Hawkeye was on.
Exactly. It's that time of the week again. That's how I can tell time. Hawkeye was out. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I mentioned just before we like officially started that I had a busy day today, so I am like ready to relax. And I am excited to talk about some Hawkeye episode 4. We're now more than halfway done with this series because there's only 6 of them. So we're getting close to the end here. But what did you think?
I love that you give us a fraction every week. You're like, we're a third of the way through. We're halfway through. We're more than halfway through.
Yeah.
like you're like a living battery meter for the show and how much of it is there.
We're 60% of the way there, guys.
This was a nice one. We got a new character who has appeared. Well, a character we've seen before in the MCU, but this is their first appearance here. We had to know a little bit more about Maya. We just had a bunch of daiquiris. I like that.
Sure did. We sure did. Yeah, we got to see more of the LARPers too. That's pretty cool. I thought this one was the funniest one so far. I thought last week was pretty funny too, but this week for some reason just really hit me. It was like, this one is funny. Like I like this one. There was so many just awkward moments, or they just stuff like that, where it's just like this has some good comedic chops.
I love when they ask one of the LARPers to help get Hawkeye's trick arrows back, and she brings over this duffel bag full of arrows, and he grabs it, and she says, "That's my bag. You didn't bring your own bag for these?"
You have to have your own bag. It's BYOB. Bring your own bag.
Now I'm really concerned whether or not she's going to get her duffel bag back. That is my number one. I don't care who murdered that old man. I don't remember Armand, the butterscotch man. I'm not interested.
You haven't even gotten back to that whole thing.
It's a long circle back. What does the watch mean? I don't know. Is Bombshell going to get her bombshell bag back? Number one concern on my mind.
Well, speaking of Bombshell, this is kind of one of the not big Easter eggs, but it is in Easter egg for the Marvel universe. Bombshell was originally a character that was hired in the comics to kill Hawkeye. She's a villain. And I don't know much about her. I don't know if she's still really a thing in the main comics. However, there is a newer version of Bombshell that I'm more familiar with. In the Ultimate Comics, which was like a side universe, did its own thing, but it's also the one that Miles Morales originated in. In that universe, there is a much younger character named Bombshell, whose mom is a villain. She doesn't really agree with her and wants to like be a good guy. And so she ends up teaming up with Peter and with Miles and all that stuff. And she is one of the few characters, along with Miles, who transitioned from that universe into the main Marvel Comics 616. So she is like the new Bombshell, and she has she can like, I was about to say she can throw exploding bombs, but that's kind of what bombs do anyways. But she does that stuff. So
that's cool. I thought it was just like this lady's wife's nickname for her. I didn't know she was a pre-existing comic book character.
Every now and again, they do something like that, where it's like it's a nod to a certain character, but in the MCU, they're probably not really gonna do much with that. Unless, who knows, maybe one day down the road they have a kid, and that ends up being the new Bombshell. Who knows? But yeah, I don't think that will be much down the road. It was just a small, like, aha, there you go, Easter egg. So good stuff there. Good stuff there. Best comedy so far, I think. Let's dive in a bit more here. I felt this one also was maybe one of the most Christmassy ones, because we get all the ugly sweaters and stuff like that. How did you feel about all of that stuff?
I did like that Kate insists on, if Hawkeye can't go home to his family for Christmas, she's like, I'm bringing the Christmas to you. You won't go un-Christmased. And I really hope that once Comic Cons return with more frequency, I will see somebody dressed as Daiquiri Hawkeye. Frozen Daiquiri Hawkeye. He's injured. He doesn't have any ice packs, so he's just used masking tape. He's just got big frozen daiquiris taped to his body, and it's a great look. And then they just drink all of the daiquiris. They drink like 3 or 4 different colors of daiquiri. She brings all the Christmas stuff. I like that he's got a sweater with a cat on it, because it reminds me of like 10 years ago when Grumpy Cat was new, and people were like, Jeremy Renner looks like the Grumpy Cat.
Yeah.
There's a picture of him on some late night talk show, like making the Grumpy Cat face, and they do it side by side. I don't know if it's a nod to that or if it's just cat. We have a cat one.
Happened to be, yeah. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I liked this one a lot, because the previous one ended kind of on that cliffhanger of the Ronin sword as Jack holds it up to Hawkeye's neck, and it doesn't seem like they know each other, but they could also be playing coy. I don't know, because that's one of those things of, like, I think in the comics Jack was the one that trained Hawkeye back in the day, but it doesn't seem like they know each other here, so who knows. But yeah, he pieces out. They go have their holiday daiquiri coin throwing party, which is exactly what they would do. It was good. And then they try and go steal this watch from this location. Now, we haven't really talked much about the watch here on our reaction. So what's the deal with this watch, do you think?
I don't even remember. Is it from Avengers Compound? I don't remember the actual what we know about the watch within the show and what I've just heard speculated about the watch. What are the watch facts?
We don't know much.
Okay.
Here's our new official watch segment on the Hawkeye show called Watch Out.
Welcome to Watch.
Yeah. So yeah, it was something that was in the Avengers compound. Somehow it was stolen, I guess, in Avengers Endgame. I don't know. Somehow some way was being sold on the black market. The tracksuits won it back somehow. I guess they had it, or they were looking to steal it from the black market thing. But yeah, we don't know much about it besides that. We do get some new information in this one, that it belongs to someone that Hawkeye used to work with. And I forget exactly what else he says, but it was stuff that didn't really help me narrow it down.
Yeah, he said, like, the watch belonged to a coworker. That coworker is out of the game, but the watch, like, still has ties back to them. And I was thinking about Tony Stark. He's known to wear watches. His watches are known to have, high-end technology in them.
From Civil War, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
This could be a seed for armor wars, right? Like, it actually is
That's a strong seed to plant this early.
Something. But I don't think it's Tony Stark.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been. I don't think he would have felt the need to be so secretive about Tony Stark, a man who was very public in his identity and is long dead.
Right. Yeah.
And like talking, adding this facet onto his life, knowing that he had a watch with a lot of technology in it. Like anybody would know that already. That doesn't do anything to the memory and legacy of Tony Stark.
Yeah. It could also be Kingpin. Because I've also heard some speculation that if and when they bring Kingpin into the MCU and maybe more of these Netflix characters, because there was that whole thing about Kevin Feige saying if they were to bring Daredevil in, it would be Charlie Cox to the MCU. I've heard that it might be those same actors and they're playing the same characters, but it's not necessarily the ones from the Netflix shows. Like those histories might not necessarily apply to them. So yeah, it could be Wilson Fisk was the kingpin of crime. Ronan was out to get him and maybe somehow spared his life. Maybe made a deal with him of like, hey, if you stay out of it, I'll let you live. That might be the he's out of the game thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't know if this is Kingpin's watch or not, because why would this be at the Avengers compound? I don't know if it's that significant. But I don't know. In the comics, I will say this without spoiling much. You do get to meet Hawkeye's brother in the comics there, and we haven't seen him in the show yet. So I'm wondering if maybe it's more of a family thing, that like he had it because it was his brother's and it just happened to be at the Avengers compound thing. But then I don't know why the tracksuits would be after it. Like I don't know. It's an odd one. It's an odd one for sure, but we will see because we only got 2 more left.
Right. As you keep reminding us. We have 2 episodes left to find out who murdered Armand. What's the deal with this watch? Will Kate's credit card be reactivated? Will Clint get back home in time to see his family? I'm happy that we keep checking in with Laura and the kids. I'm happy with the amount of Laura that is in the show. And I like that she's a very active participant in Hawkeye's superhero life. Like we've known that she knows what it is he gets up to, but it seems like she has perhaps entirely domestic skills, not to underwrite or anything, but it seems like she doesn't have any sort of background in fighting or inventing technology or doing espionage things. But he asked her to run Sloan Limited. I'm like, what do you mean run? That means she's got some sort of higher capability than you have, or there's some sort of computer you've got back at the house that she knows how to use. And it seems like she's really in the know about more things than we were aware of. And she like says something to him in another language I wasn't able to identify, and Disney Plus did not label for me in its captions.
I was assuming that was Russian. That seems to be the language of most of the current tracksuits right now. So, there might be some like odd ties in with that somehow. But yeah, it sounded like Russian to me, but I'm not sure. I didn't pay enough attention there. But yeah, she seemingly had access to some computer or someone that could do that somehow. But yeah, so they steal the watch, and that's when all hell breaks loose, and there's a big fight, which I loved this whole fight. It was a little dark since it's at night, right? But it was fine. But yeah, we see Maya inside the apartment fighting Kate, and then Hawkeye, who also thinks he's fighting Maya. He's like, she's out here.
It's just an entirely masked, disguised female figure. So he presumes it's Maya. She's the only other woman in the current situation he's dealing with.
Right, yeah. Of course, we know that, and it was later revealed to be Yelena from Black Widow, her younger sister.
Yeah.
So do you think Clint knows her? Or does he only recognize that she's a Black Widow?
Yeah, he may recognize that. He's probably been told about Yelena, but it's not clear if Natasha ever had like a photo. Like, here's Yelena, so you know if you ever see her in the future. You may know her by name and concept only and not recognize her face.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, he did mention that it was like, hey, someone hired a Black Widow assassin to kill me now. So things have gotten very serious. Which, let me ask you this. So at the time that Hawkeye asks his wife to run that company, we also see a scene of Kate's mom basically talking to someone. Was she the one that sent the Black Widow assassin after him?
Quite possibly. Or she's in connection with somebody else who can.
Yeah, like maybe she was like, hey, Wilson, good old buddy, old pal, Mr. Fisk, how you doing?
Willie, Big Willie style. I'm calling it a favor.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too, because that's another kind of clue that her mom is more in the know than we think, or than has yet to be revealed. Because I know I've been like, I think she's Madame Mask. I think that's who she's gonna be. But yeah, interesting stuff.
I liked the scene where, first off, I like that there's that Eleanor and Jack know immediately Hawkeye is here working with Kate in some capacity. I like when a story just like comes out with a reveal like that. The characters don't have to walk around it and continue to hide it. Kate's like, yeah, this is me and Hawkeye. He's my new best friend and we're working on a case. And I like that the characters like, that her mom knows she's a very skilled archer. She's always looked up to Hawkeye. She's wanted to be a helper, if not, a full capital S superhero, but be somebody who is protective of others after the experience she went through. Like that she takes it at face value and there aren't any jokes about like, are you sleeping with Hawkeye that you might expect in another story? Yeah, like I'd like that everybody reads the situation as what it is and there's no misunderstanding hijinks there. I also like the scene where Jack starts dancing with Eleanor. I think that's very sweet that at first, and it's a very genuine moment between the two of them. Who knows what either of their motivations are, but it seems like Jack at least really does love her. She, she may be using him, but it seems like there's at least some love there too. And Kate is like kind of rolling her eyes at this at first. And then by the end of the scene, she's smiling. She's like, Mom, I've never seen you dance. I haven't seen you that happy in a long time. And I think that adds a lot to this eventual conflict we're going to get with when whatever Ellen and or Jack have been up to is revealed to Kate. I went into the show thinking it was going to be an icier relationship between her and her mom. And I like that there is some level of closeness and care to that, because if it was just, here's this mom I hate and I don't like having to deal with her. Oh, she's a supervillain. That doesn't change as much as, this is my mom who I do care about and I want to see her happy, even though I'm frustrated and I don't like this man she's going to marry.
Right.
I recognize that he does make her happy and that's something she needs in her life.
Yeah. Yeah, this one also, I think, alongside the more comedic moments, I think this one also had maybe like we had the emotional moment last time when he's on the phone with his kid, but this one has a couple gut punches or just like harsh moments. When Kate's mom is walking Clint out, like the comment she makes about Natasha is just like, oh, that's cold. Like, like you mean business.
It's
then,
incorrect too, which of course it would be. I don't think the general public knows the details.
It's insensitive.
Well, she says that it is insensitive, but what I was thinking about was that she's like, Natasha was strong. Natasha was a great fighter, but look at her. She still died anyway. And I don't know if the general public knows exactly like what happened on Vormir. They may just know the hero known as Black Widow perished in various events leading to the defeat of Thanos and the re-snapping of bringing everybody together. She may not know that, no, Natasha died not despite of being an excellent fighter, but because she was an excellent fighter, because Clint was trying to throw himself off that cliff and she disposed him and like jumped down there first. She wanted to do that. It was her prowess and her skill and her dedication that killed her because that was her goal. That was what she wanted out of that situation. And he doesn't try to explain that that's what it was. Like, no, like she didn't die because she lost. She died because she won.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then almost immediately after that, at the Christmas festivities at Kate's aunt's mysterious aunt's house that is still not there.
I'm still wondering if we're ever going to see whoever this aunt is. If she's going to, if that's the post-credit scene for the series, it's just the aunt comes home.
I doubt it. But well, who knows though? But yeah, they're sitting there and Kate asks Clint what the best shot he took was, and he's just like, the one that I didn't take. He's like, and you learn that was when he decided to help save Natasha and get her out. And then at the end, when they're on the roof and Yelena finally jumps off the side of the building to escape and all of that stuff, like in the aftermath, this is where Clint is like, all right, we're done. Like, the fact that there's now a Black Widow after me, like, this is now no longer a small thing that's like, yeah, sure, yeah. I guess you can help. I don't really want you to be here, but I'll at least keep you safe because I know you won't listen. And now he's just like, yeah, no, now like you are out of your league here big time. So I'm interested to see if she's in the next one because it seemed like the fight didn't end really. Yeah. It just kind of stopped, and then they jumped off the side and was like, all right, next episode. It's like, I wanted more from that. Yeah.
Also seemed very risky to just cut Kate off of that like grappling hook and trust that she's going to fall to safety. It was only falling in like one Christmas story.
Lights.
Yeah, she fell through like a net of Christmas lights, but still, maybe I just have flashbacks to Gwen Stacy. I'm like, get any woman off of any sort of string or web or grappling hook line. Like, get her off of there because that's bad. Like, yes, pull her back up. Make sure her neck doesn't snap. Don't just cut her and let her fall, even if it is just like 10 feet.
Get a giant trampoline like they used to do in the cartoons.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's my big trampoline? Well, I guess that's what Reed Richards is. Can't wait until the Fantastic Four when we get some big trampoline action.
There you go.
I really liked getting to see Maya's apartment. I didn't know that's where we were going at the beginning of that scene. There were those flashing lights that I didn't recognize those as visual alarms for people without hearing until that's what Clint said. But I thought it was neat. She was super into plants. That's the first thing you notice when you get into this apartment. It's like, boy, there's plants everywhere. All sorts of house plants. They look well cared for. Whose place is this? And I'm trying to think, like, is this significant? Is there like a plant person? Like, who's the Marvel equivalent of Poison Ivy? Like, do the plants have like mythological comic book meanings? And it seems like maybe not. Maybe it does, but also there's like, what's Maya into? What is she like in her spare time when she's not doing karate and leading a crime ring? Maybe she loves plants. I like to know that about her. I'm happy we get to know that Maya likes plants.
She is Native American, Uh, so there might be some kind of connection to her tribe, or
it may have a cultural significance.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure with all of that stuff.
It was enough plants that I'm like, does this number of plants mean something? And I did think about every bit of comic book related speculation I've heard. Like plants. I'm like mentally searching through like a file, cabinet
Control
under
F,
P for
plants.
Right. Didn't find anything. Seems like it may just be a nice hobby that Maya has.
Yep.
Happy to know she has a hobby. I think if this is a character who we are going to continue to see in her own dedicated series, it's nice that we get to know this not plot related aspect of her character. We get to know what she does in her downtime, if we're ever lucky enough to see it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see more of her in the show. One of the things that I'm thinking is that we have so many things happening that we still want to know about. There's the Watch, there's Kingpin, there's who killed our mom, there's Kate's mom, is she Madame Mask, what's happening? The Tracksuit Mafia, why are they involved? Like, there's so much stuff that I don't think this is all gonna be wrapped up in season 1. I think we might get a season 2. Like, I just don't feel like if they did wrap it up, it would be satisfactory. And I don't feel like there is enough time to really wrap things up, if that makes sense.
I feel like if they knew that season 1 wasn't going to accomplish all the things it started, we may have already heard there was going to be a season 2. Because that was a situation for Loki and What If, feeling like something was missing. Those were shows that like we already knew going into the finale. There will probably be more of this. And I haven't heard anything about a second season of Hawkeye, except for the Echo spinoff. But we don't know how long these final 2 episodes are. And I think it is a benefit that we know we're dealing with a compressed time and a compressed geography. Everything has to happen in like the 3 days before Christmas within New York City. Everything, there's a lot of things that need to happen, but all the ingredients are right there.
Yep, indeed. I would be okay if we don't get a second season. Yeah, because we do have the spinoff for Echo. I think even some just interesting developments that might be happening in Spider-Man, stuff like that may or may not affect things that will have a big effect on the MCU. But yeah, I feel like they might also just be waiting to see how this one does. Who knows? But I would love to see a second season focusing more on Kate. Just like let's just have this be Kate's show.
Yeah.
So that would be good. That would be fun. But I think the last thing I want to say is that I really liked the scene with Kazi. When Hawkeye steals all his weapons and then just walks away and chucks them, and he's just like, damn it, like I needed that. Like, so yeah, that was good. But I think that's about it that I have to say for Hawkeye episode 4.
Yeah.
So there you go. Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, show where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kids shows you think only you remember. We are recording our Christmas special later tonight, so should be out for you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. I'm excited. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter. And if you guys want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe. That would help us out a ton. Big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters, especially at the $5 tier. So thank you to Sam. We love you a lot.
Sam.
We appreciate you. It means a lot. I should say Spider-Man is coming up. I think it's in like 2 weeks-ish, a little bit less than that.
It's a week from Friday.
You go, yeah. But we will be doing a Reactor Core spoiler cast on that. So just keep that in mind for the coming weeks. And yeah, I think that is about it for now. So we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.